Ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ bá ti láǹfààní láti máa gbọ́ mi, láti máa wò mí. Ariwo táwọn èèyàn kan pa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Kwara lásìkò yìí, òun ni wípé èèmọ̀ wọ̀lú o, àwọn ọba aládé bíi 30 ni wọ́n ti fi ààfin wọn lẹ̀ o, tí wọ́n ti sá àsálà fún ẹ̀mí wọn kúrò láàrin ìlú. Àwọn ará ìlú ni wọ́n ti wá ń pariwo orúkọ olóyè Sunday Igboho ọmọ Adéyẹmọ wípé kó dìde ìrànlọ́wọ́, wípé ìlérí tó ṣe fún àwọn nígbà tí ó wá sí ìpínlẹ̀ Kwara tó fi dé ìpínlẹ̀ Kogi kó tètè wá múṣẹ o, nítorí àkọsílẹ̀ ti fi hàn dájú wípé àwọn ọba aládé 30 ni wọ́n ti fi àárín ìlú sílẹ̀ látàrí ìwà ìjínigbé ìkọlù àwọn Fulani tó di gbọmọgbọmọ ní ìpínlẹ̀ náà. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí àkọsílẹ̀ tó jáde nínú ìwé ìròyìn tí ẹ̀ ń wò lójú amóhùnmáwòrán yìí, ohun tí wọ́n gbìyànjú láti sọ nínú ìwé ìròyìn ni wípé ó kéré tán àwọn ọba aládé 30 káàkiri ìpínlẹ̀ Kwara ni wọ́n ti fi ààfin wọn sílẹ̀ látàrí ọ̀rọ̀ ìwà ìjínigbé ìkọlù ìpànìyàn tí ó ń wáyé, gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe fi ìdí rẹ̀ múlẹ̀ fún àwọn oníròyìn wípé àwọn ọba aládé àti àwọn olórí ìlú gbòógì ni wọ́n ti ń lọ fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ ní àwọn ibùgbé ìmíràn bíi Ìlọrin, Òṣogbo, Ọ̀fà àti ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. Bákan náà ni wọ́n fi orúkọ àwọn ọba aládé tí ọ̀rọ̀ kàn wọ́n fi léde, gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ ti ṣe ń rí orúkọ wọn nínú ìwé ìròyìn yìí. Wọ́n ní ó ti tó bí oṣù púpọ̀ báyìí tí àwọn ọba aládé kan ti sọ ìpàkọ́ sí ààfin wọn tí wọ́n sì lọ ń gbé ibòmíràn. Àwọn ará àdúgbò Òmùgọ̀ ni wọ́n ti wá jáde síta sọ̀rọ̀ ní báyìí wípé ẹ wò ó, ìdí tí àwọn ọba yìí fi kúrò náà ni nítorí ìkọlù àwọn Fúlàní ìjínigbé tó ń di gbọmọgbọmọ láàrin ìlú. Wọ́n ní ẹ wò ìgbésẹ̀ yìí kódà ó ti mú ìbẹ̀rùbojo wá sí àárín ìlú fún àwọn, nítorí àwọn ọba aládé tí ó yẹ kí wọ́n máa tọ́ àwọn sọ́nà ni wọ́n ti fi àárín ìlú sílẹ̀. Ẹ wò ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kò tán o. Arákùnrin tí ẹ̀ ń wò lójú amóhùnmáwòrán yìí, arákùnrin yìí tí ẹ̀ ń wò lójú amóhùnmáwòrán yìí, ó yànnàná o àwọn nǹkan tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nípa ìpínlẹ̀ Kwara, ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ààbò ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà pàápàá jùlọ ní ilẹ̀ kóòtù òjìrè. Ó sọ bí tá a ti ń bọ̀, ó sọ bí tá a dé, ó sì sọ bí ọjọ́ iwájú ètò ààbò ṣe fẹ́ rí ní ilẹ̀ kóòtù òjìrè. àìsí ń bẹ̀ láì bá wọn dá sí. Tó bá jẹ́ ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ tí yín rèé, ẹ má gbàgbé láti like, kẹ́ comment, kẹ́ subscribe, kẹ́ tó bá wa share káàkiri, ẹ bá wa pín kí wọ́n lè mọ bó ṣe ń lọ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Kwara. Àwọn ọba aládé bíi 30 ó kéré tán ni wọ́n ti fi ìlú sílẹ̀ o. Ẹ wò ẹ gbọ́ ohun tí arákùnrin yìí sọ. Ọ̀tẹ̀ ló ń jẹ́ ló ń pè ọ́, kò sẹ́ni tí ò lórúkọ tiẹ̀, àti wípé ọmọ kì í gọ̀ títí sẹ́ẹ̀ kó gbàgbé orúkọ ara rẹ̀. Ààfin tèmi ò nílò ìdánimọ̀ lọ́jà, tó bá dọ́jà báyìí wọ́n á mọ̀ bó dọ́jà ni. Èmi tí ń tòótọ́ Samuel Owóyẹmí, fẹ́lẹ́fẹ́lẹ́ láyé lórúkọ mi, fẹ́lẹ́ ní gbogbo èèyàn mọ̀ mí sí. Èmi náà kọ́, Ọlọ́run ọba òkè ló fún mi ṣe ní gbogbo ìgbà.
The insecurity in Nigeria, it's beyond what people see. And what I'll be saying tonight, I'll be backing it up with a lot of historical and academic backing. For instance, I'm going to talk about what is happening in the Kwara, Niger State, and Kogi axis. According to economics, human want is insatiable, but the resources are limited. The resources in the world is limited. It's who becomes the world power, who becomes superpowers, who builds empire are people who control vital resources and vital trade routes. That has always been the way of the world for the past 10,000 years. And the world is not going to change in 2026. We can see what has happened to the United Nations. The United Nations is no longer what it used to be. That powerful nations like United States of America, Russia and China can decide not to obey what the United Nations says. It shows us some things. It shows us that not all nations are equal, and some nations are above so laws because they make the laws. It is also very important for us to also understand this thing. We must understand that we must understand how important it is for us to know that without us, without Africa or indigenous people having control over their destiny, we are surely going to be recolonized. The world is going back to factory setting, to what it used to be, not just 100 years ago, 200 years ago. And for any country to become superpowers, they must continue to have access to huge resources in order to be able to maintain their industrial machines, industrial complexes, and war industrial complexes. So where are these? Unfortunately, if you look at the world, most superpowers do not have most of the resources they need to continue to maintain this superpower status. The world has changed. We are talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and we are talking about advanced weaponry, laser weaponry. Most of these advanced methods or advanced system of warfare actually needs rare earth elements, solid minerals, lithium, palladium, cobalt, coltan, many of these resources that are needed to be able to build the next supercomputers that are needed to build the next to build the next powerful systems. So when you need all these computers, you need all these resources, you need to be able to control these resources. I'm going to give you an instance. The reason why France, Britain specifically, the United Kingdom, stopped being the superpower of the world was that they could not control the resources of their colonies anymore. Immediately after World War II, that America had to force Britain to give up its colony. America no longer became the most powerful country. United Kingdom stopped being the most powerful country of the earth, and America replaced it. So the fight for resources, who controls what? That is why the strategy of China is very, very simple. China has focused on Central Asia and Africa and Latin America in business and economic deals in order to get all the mineral resources it needs to continue to become a superpower. Now, how does this not lead to insecurity? If you look at the world, anywhere there is chaos, it is very, very difficult to extract. It is very, very difficult to manipulate. It is very, very difficult to coerce. It is very, very difficult to subjugate a people that are organized and an organized society. If you cannot destroy and you cannot colonize and destroy an organized society, you need to bring soul chaos. Now, let me give you an instance. Before the Hausa city states would fall into the hands of Fulani colonialism, they needed to be chaos. They needed to destroy those city states. Before the Yoruba city states and empires and kingdoms could be colonized by the United Kingdom, firstly, that is why the Fulanis and the British, there's something called the Dua Mandate. The Dua Mandate is where the Fulanis are not subjects of Britain. The Fulanis are partners of Britain. There's a difference between partners and the difference between subjects. The whole concept of the dual mandate of the colonialism of Nigeria was built on these fundamentals. A lot of people don't understand this. They do not even want to think about it. Like, just pause and wait a minute. The Fulanis are partners in the colonialism of Nigeria. That is why the way they behave, the way they talk, the atrocities they committed within the space called Nigeria for over 200 years, how they get away with killings, how we get away with pogrom. The bitter truth is, the Hutus did not get away with the pogrom against the Tutsis in Rwanda. They didn't get away with it. The Hutus did not get away with it. But the Fulanis got away with the pogrom against the Igbos in the north. Because the Fulanis are co-partners. They are co-partners in the Nigerian project with the British. So we are not equal under the law, geopolitically, within the context of Nigeria. Now, why was this so? Because the British needed somebody that will continue and ensure that Nigeria continues to supply the needed human and capital resources and mineral resources to fund and sustain the British civilization and English Anglo-Saxon civilization in Europe. So, like I was trying to say, if any place is organized, it is very difficult for anybody to be able to colonize and subjugate those places. So that is why insecurity and chaos is one of the best ways for you to be able to subjugate and continue to exploit the people. You look at Congo, for instance. Congo supplies the world with coltan. Many of the things that is being used to make our phones, many of the things that are being used to build our plasma television, electric cars. So Congo has become a dysfunctional country for over 60 years. Congo has become a dysfunctional country for over 60 years. Uganda, Rwanda, almost every of their neighbor continues to take a piece of Congo. Why? Even though Congo has over 100 million people, Congo can dare not face 2 million, 1 million Tutsis in Rwanda because it's a dysfunctional country. What is it? What exactly is the economy of Rwanda built on? What does Rwanda exports? If anybody asks a question, what Rwanda does is to be exporting the mineral resources that are being looted from Eastern Congo. So Congo is a good example of insecurity. The more destabilized a country is, the more it is very easy to continue to loot. So the things are going to get more and more terrible. For 40 years ago, 50 years ago, it was all about oil and gas. Now, solid minerals, lithium, and all these other gold, lithium, gold, coltan. Especially, let's talk about gold. The reason gold is extremely critical is the most valuable. Once you have gold, there are two resources that you need to have in the world that will save you and make you survive any sanction. If you have gold, you can never be sanctioned. And that's exactly why you see in Russia, why Russia has been able to survive sanctions. The gold that is being taken from Mali, the gold that is being taken from Darfur in Sudan, is what Russia has been able to use to barter, to create a war economy that has been able to survive sanction. There is no country on earth that is as sanctioned as Russia and North Korea. Yet, Russia continues to function. So in fact, the economy is even growing. How is Russia doing it? Russia is doing it because Russia is sanction-proof. Russia is sanction-proof because Russia has gold. It has been able to take gold from Sudan, able to take gold, also it's also producing some level of gold, and it's also been able to get gold from Sub-Saharan Africa. Now, the gold coming from Sub-Saharan Africa, from Mali, from Nigeria, from Sudan, is not being produced by state actors. Many of the gold mines in Nigeria, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in the Central African Republic, in Sudan, is being controlled by non-state actors. When I mean non-state actors, I'm talking about political Islamist terrorist organizations. I'm talking about bandits. I'm talking about terrorists. These are the organizations, these are the groups that control these gold mines, that control these resources. And these resources, it is not being passed, it's not passing through the government. These resources is being couriered away. There have been so many situations where where people have said there's so many private jets landing in the middle of the Sahara, landing in open airstrips, where many of these raw gold have been taken out. So that is why you see, and that is what is funding the insecurity and the instability that you are seeing across West Africa. So many of these countries, many of these non-state actors, they have gold in huge quantities. They're extremely rich. Once you have gold, you can never be poor. Once you have gold, you can never be stuck anywhere in the world. Apart from the US dollar, the only currency that you can barter with anywhere, whether in the open market and the underground market, and survive is gold. If you have a gold bar, you will never go hungry anywhere in the world. This is common sense, and the most powerful, they understand all this. The non-state actors and the state actors understand this. Even the world, the currency of the world, used to be pegged with the gold standard before America was able to use the petrodollar. The biggest country on earth that produces oil and gas, crude oil, which was Saudi Arabia, and the United States of America became the global currency all of a sudden. So many of these non-state actors, like bandits, warlords, ISIS, Boko Haram, they just Al Qaeda, JNIM, ISWAP, Lakurawa, any of these organizations. They can afford to pay their fighters. They can afford to even run. They run the proper government. They have police. They have their own Sharia council. They have Hisbah police. They collect taxes. They buy cars. They maintain their fighters. They maintain. In fact, they collect taxes from farmers. They collect GCR taxes from non-Muslims. So they run a parallel government. In their mind, they run the caliphates, and they are well connected. They can import fighters from across the side, from the Arabian Peninsula, from Pakistan, from Turkey, to come and train them experts in drone technique, how to be good for snipers. So that is why it has. We are talking about a very, very rich and very, very powerful people, a powerful group. And many of these times they battle with the powers that be. They battle with gold. So, for instance, Russia needs gold. It brings guns and ammunition. It gives them drones. I'm not trying to paint Russia, but that is what we've seen. That is what we've seen in Darfur, where United Arab Emirates, Russia, are supplying both sides. They are supplying. For instance, let me also go further. The RSF, They were bandits. They were terrorist organizations that were used to terrorize indigenous black Muslim population and the Christian populations in southern Sudan. They committed crime against humanity, rape, expulsion, and destruction of people from their ancestral lands. Everything you see in the middle belt of Nigeria, everything you see in the middle belt in the northern Nigeria has been committed by Fulani militias. It's not different from what than they call them bandits. That is why the reason why we've not been able to stop this problem, and our political elites and our government continues to use kid glove to treat this cancer, is because many Nigerians are not educated. If I come here to start promising and start causing the government, there will be thousands of people that will start joining this live stream and start praising me. If I cause Tinubu every day and say Tinubu is useless, Tinubu is this, Tinubu is that. But anything that is an intellectual, or I'm coming here to cause Igbos, cause this and cause that, some people are going to think this is how intellectualism or freedom fight should be. But this level of high intellectual discourse, our educational system has not trained the minds of Nigerians to be prepared to understand what we are discussing. This is why a lot of people don't actually understand what Yoruba nationalism or nationalism of any kind is. They think it's competition. It's an unfortunate situation that we find ourselves. And if we understand these fundamentals, we understand how valuable things are, we understand the situation of things, we understand what needs to be done, we understand that we are already in Sudan, then we are surely going to know that we don't need to be emotional, we need to organize ourselves. If you look at, like I said, in Sudan, the people we call RSF today were bandits that were given guns and ammunition by the central government in Sudan to fight, quote unquote, secessionists, because they saw the black Muslims in Sudan as a threat to the Arabization of Sudan, because the black Muslims took up arms in Darfur to fight against the racism by people who say it is Islam first, but they are perpetrating racism against Arabs, against the black Muslims. Which is why if you look at social media, the Fulani supremacists will never say, oh, they are killing Fulanis. Oh, they will say, oh, they are attacking we Muslims. Who are the Muslims that are committing crimes against humanity in the middle belt of Nigeria? Fulanis. But they've been able to insert themselves. They've been able to entangle themselves to equalize Fulani and Islam to mean the same thing. That's what they've done all over the world, all over West Africa. So when you try to say, for instance, let's even go further into this. You look at Mali. Mali is almost 99% Muslims. You look at Niger is almost 99% Muslims. You look at Burkina Faso is almost 99% Muslim. What happened? You have a situation where the population is almost 100% Muslims, but you have armed groups, armed with sophisticated weapons, controlling almost 60%, killing young and old, that are saying they are fighting in the name of Islam. What are they fighting for? And it's always the Afro-Semitic groups. If it's not Fulani, it is Arabs. If it's not Arabs, it is the Tuaregs that are at war with black people across the Sahel. The whole of North Africa used to be populated by black people. So they chased us from North Africa. They chased us from the Sahel. Where exactly are we going to run to? Where exactly are we running to? Into the ocean? Because a lot of people don't actually understand what is going on. And people with 1,000, you look at what happened in Central African Republic. It was just a ragtag. Central African Republic is almost 80 to 90% Christian. But it took just 2 to 3% of the population to take up arms, go into Banjul, commit crimes against humanity, and control the entire country by radicals coming from Sudan. So what exactly? So this is not an attack against Islam, because they are doing the same thing in Niger Republic. They are doing the same thing in Mali. They are doing the same thing in Burkina Faso. So that is what we need to be afraid of. What is going on? And the democracy of Nigeria is actually not sure. Anywhere this kind of insecurity takes place, where you have a huge chunk of your territory being controlled by non-state actors. These non-state actors are sophisticated, and they are even taking your resources. They are taking the resources of the indigenous people to fund their fights. It is almost impossible to have any form of democracy. Let me give you an instance. Mali is controlled, is fighting against jihadists. Democracy failed in Mali. Same thing in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is fighting against jihadists. Democracy has failed. Sudan is also fighting against jihadists. Democracy has failed. Central African Republic is also fighting against jihadists. Democracy has failed. So where you have this huge chunk of insecurity, if we are not careful, one way or the other, democracy is going to become history in Nigeria. And people, ethnic supremacists, are going to use that opportunity to use the problem of insecurity to take over Nigeria and take back Nigeria into the days of Abacha. If you talk, you are going to be killed. You think they don't have democracy activists in Burkina Faso? So you think these people that are destabilizing Nigeria don't think they don't know what they are doing? Look, in as much Nigeria practices democracy, it is impossible for Fulani supremacy to exist and survive. The Fulani supremacy can only survive in an autocratic, theocratic society. That is why most of the coup in Nigeria has always been organized from people that subscribe to the Madam Fodio ideology. It is a reality. That's why you see them. It is very easy to spit on Adeko and mock the Yoruba people. That we spilled our blood, we did not kill them back for killing our people. When the Igbos killed Amadu Bello, they went berserk and they went toe to toe and in order to make the country ungovernable, they committed genocide and killed tens of thousands of Igbos and Easterners in retaliation. But when they killed the Ariana Kakafo of Yoruba land, they killed the richest black man in Africa. They killed the best of our best brains, dropped the best of our best brains into exile. So they were still able to manipulate us to say, let us forgive and forget, and let us come back. And let us come back in 1999, and let us move on. Because they understand that within the Yoruba space, we have people who have broken values and broken principles, who will continue to ensure that the Yoruba people race tolerates disrespect because they want to be seen as pacifists. So this is one of the end goal. This is the future of Nigeria. If Nigeria does not solve insecurity, the military will take over. Recall what I'm saying down today. If Nigeria, we are not prophets of doom. If you love democracy, that is why it is. Okay, for instance, look at Tinubu. Tinubu did not leave the airports and go into the Jos metropolis because the security was not clear. Because there is not the security, we didn't know what was happening there. He didn't know what was happening. He wasn't sure of his own life. There were almost 1 or 2 times they tried to orchestrate a coup d'etat that would kill him. So he could not go into that place. He wasn't sure. So that's the reality. That is the reality that we face. That is the reality we face in Nigeria. And so say, oh, hey, the president could not go there. The president is killed. The country goes to a civil war. That's the reality. Because the Yoruba people are never going to witness another humiliation of Abacha, and everybody's going to tell us, let us move on. They're not moving on. Because this country is an amalgamation. It's a British project built on the blood of indigenous people. It's a reality.
ọ̀tẹ̀ ló ń jẹ́ ìlú ń pè ọ́ kò sẹ́ni tí ò lórúkọ tiẹ̀ àti wípé ọmọ kì í gọ̀ títí sẹ́ẹ̀ kó gbàgbé orúkọ ara rẹ̀. ààfin tèmi ò nílò ìdánimọ̀ lọ́jà tó bá dọ́jà báyìí wọ́n á mọ̀ pé ó dọ́jà ni. èmi tí ń tòótọ́ Samuel Owóyẹmí fẹ́lẹ́fẹ́lẹ́ láyé lórúkọ mi, fẹ́lẹ́ ní gbogbo ìyẹn mọ̀ mí sí. èmi náà kọ́, Ọlọ́run ọba òkè ló fún mi ṣe ní gbogbo ìgbà.